From parliamentary pageantry to the nation's business, we bring you both sides, but more emphasis on areas of high priority for the government ahead of the upcoming budget year. Plus, the Bank of Jamaica's management of inflation and the future of social housing. All that and so much more inside Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Welcome.
Jamaica's population is aging rapidly. Over 350,000, or 13.2% of Jamaicans, are senior citizens. These individuals deserve our care and respect. Very often, our senior citizens are neglected, disregarded, and disrespected. It's time to act. A special select committee of the Senate is reviewing a motion proposing the creation of an Elderly Care and Protection Act to better safeguard the rights and dignity of our senior citizens. We invite you to share your suggestions and recommendations about what should be included in this act. Send your submission in writing to Clerk to the Houses, Gordon House, 81 Duke Street, Kingston, or email clerk@japarliament.gov.jm. The deadline for submissions is February 15, 2025. Let's work together to protect and create a more inclusive and supportive Jamaica for our senior citizens.
Good day, I'm Twyla Whelan, and this is your JS News for Thursday, February 13, 2025. Jamaicans will have a say on the matter of the country's final court as the government commits to having the Constitution Amendment Republic Bill 2024 passed in Parliament and approved by the people in the 2025-2026 legislative year. Custos of Kingston Stedman Fuller made the declaration during today's ceremonial opening of Parliament as he deputized for Governor-General Sir Patrick Allen in delivering the throne speech. The legislation, which is designed to replace the monarch as head of state and establish Jamaica as a republic, is now being reviewed by a joint select committee of both houses of Parliament.
The reform work will continue into the next phase with a sharp focus on Chapter 3 and 7 of the Constitution, the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms, and the Judicature. The people of Jamaica will also be provided the opportunity to have their say on the matter of Jamaica's final court.
The Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs will also be tabling a referendum bill to provide for the procedures for the people's participation in the reform of the Constitution. Work is also far advanced to revise the Law Revision Act to establish a new framework for the revision and publication of Jamaica's laws in digitalized form, among other things. As he delivered the throne speech earlier today, which outlines the government's policies and programs for the upcoming fiscal year, Custos Fuller said it was time to write Jamaica's next chapter focused on aspiring to greatness.
Our nation stands at the dawn of a new chapter in its journey, one defined by resilience, ambition, and the unwavering determination of our people. Together, we have weathered storms, risen above challenges, and set the stage for a transformative era of growth and prosperity. Let us now move forward with boldness and vision, confident in the strength of our foundations and our nation's limitless potentials.
The Firearms Act is to be updated to, among other things, include a framework for plea negotiations. This is among the priority areas of legislative focus for the Ministry of National Security in the new fiscal year.
This is consequent to the effectiveness of the new mandatory minimum penalty, which has increased the level of interest among accused persons in entering guilty pleas.
Updates will also be made to the Proceeds of Crime Act and Fingerprints Act, alongside a comprehensive reform of the Corrections Act. Additionally, the Child Offender Rehabilitation and Social Reintegration Strategy will be launched to support transformative justice. As he outlined government's national security plan earlier today, the Custos of Kingston asserted that the various interventions to integrate legislation, technology, infrastructure, and social investment were creating a safer Jamaica.
Significant progress has been made in modernizing Jamaica's anti-crime policies and legislative framework to achieve these goals in accordance with Plan Secure Jamaica.
The government will be focusing on literacy and numeracy as priority in the 2025-2026 fiscal year, targeting children aged 0 to 8 years old.
There will also be the implementation of a special education policy to ensure equity and inclusivity and expansion of the education management information system.
Legislative priorities for the Ministry of Education include revisions to the Jamaica Teaching Council Bill to establish teacher licensing. Amendments will also be made to the Education Act of 1965 to update principal and board appointments, and progress is to continue on the Jamaica Tertiary Education Commission Bill. In other news, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has announced changes to the slate of government senators. The Prime Minister has written to the Governor-General recommending the appointments of strategist and public policy expert Delano Seavright, communication specialist Marlon Morgan, and urologist Dr. Elon Thompson. They will fill the vacant posts left by this week's resignation of Delroy Williams and Ransford Braham and the earlier resignation of Matthew Samuda, who was subsequently elected a Member of Parliament. The announcement came in a press release from the Office of the Prime Minister Wednesday evening. Dr. Holness has expressed gratitude to the former senators, who he says have played integral roles in advancing the government's legislative agenda and have served the people of Jamaica with distinction. In the meantime, he is welcoming Dr. Thompson, Mr. Morgan, and Mr. Seavright to national public service, highlighting that they will bring a wealth of experience and expertise that will bolster the government's legislative efforts and further national priorities. Prime Minister Holness underscores that these nominations reflect his administration's continued commitment to strong, effective leadership and governance. The Ministry of Education, in partnership with the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, has signed 2 contracts valued at over $250 million to fund 2 major educational projects. These are the Old Harbour Primary School Safe Passage Project and the Mount Salem Primary and Infant School Construction Project. The Old Harbour Primary Initiative, costing $89.2 million, will establish safe passage along Marley Acres from Sakaba Penn Road to include the construction of 980 meters of sidewalk, waiting sheds, street signs, crosswalks, stop bars, a pedestrian bridge, and murals with safety messages. $163 million will be spent to construct 16 classrooms for the new infant department, an administrative area, bathroom facilities, sick bay, kitchen and playground fencing, as well as termite treatment at Mount Salem Primary. Both projects are part of the 10th cycle of JSIF's Basic Needs Trust Fund, which is financed by the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB.
Beyond the physical environment, it is important that we improve the educational outcomes at these schools, and so we will continue to work with the Early Childhood Commission and the Ministry in terms of curriculum development.
Education Minister Senator Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon says the signing marks a significant step towards improving access to quality education and prioritizing student safety.
As we undertake these projects to build fit-for-purpose, durable and climate-resilient infrastructure is really at the center of what we're doing.
And finally, the Ministry of Health's recent job fair was oversubscribed, with 2,907 persons screened and 2,480 of them meeting the qualifications for most of the jobs advertised. The Health Expo and Career Fair was held to recruit persons for 600 or so jobs in the public health sector. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton gave the update in a statement to Parliament on Tuesday.
I hasten to add that our work is not complete, however, Mr. Speaker. The team at the Ministry, along with the regional health authorities and our departments, will be completing the recruitment process for the advertised jobs and analyzing surveys from schools that attend the Expo. This is to ascertain the further usefulness of the Expo experience.
Dr. Tufton says the Ministry will establish a database of job seekers to facilitate continued recruitment and workforce planning. The feasibility of annual or biennial expos is also being explored. And that's it for JS News Today. I'm Twyla Whelan. Thanks for watching.
Time for slow down. Cut the speed, let it up and go. The road cold and up, play. Use the light in a night or day. Speed kills when you're in a hurry. Hit the child and then I cry sorry. But if you decode the speed, your body life will bleed. Walk, stop, beg and plead. Just cut the speed. Taxi, bus driver, bike man, whole ladder, Mark X and Honda. Where are FIFA? Where are race? So stop! Decide it say children crossing the speed on there. When they see a pedestrian crossing, just stop. Don't drive past them. Road safety time for slow down. Cut the speed or you don't come grow.
Motorists, please look out for us when we're crossing the road.
Hope can bloom even in the most challenging circumstances. In this next feature, we share the transformative experiences of families that have benefited from the new social housing program and the positive effect of having a place to call home.
Going in a perfect home.
The old one is nice and tall. You know what, the other day when I got the key, I came in here and I prayed 3 times a day. Give the Almighty thanks for allowing me to have something like this.
Miss Chisholm is among several Jamaicans benefiting from the new social housing program NSHP that's dedicated to elevating the living conditions of the country's poor and disadvantaged population. It's a strategic program by the government to broaden opportunities for housing solutions and ownership among this group. As of January 31, 2025, the NSHP has completed approximately 300 housing units benefiting over 968 individuals across Jamaica.
Our target is 6,000 of these houses. We believe that if we were to build 6,000 social housing units in Jamaica, we could make a significant impact on the number of persons who are living in the worst substandard conditions.
The program falls under the Social Inclusion Governance Model, and implementation of the NSHP started in 2018 by Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. The program provides not just quality, affordable and sustainable housing, but overall improved living conditions.
What the government has done is to set the highest standards for social housing. And when you look at this house, you can see that it is well constructed. It will stand up to almost any storm. And we expect that to be the case because it's a fully concrete structure. Built to last.
Through the NSHP, the beneficiaries are enjoying the security of a safe, decent place within which to take shelter.
I'll be feeling much better, having a nice sleep and everything like that.
I'm feeling so, words fail to express my gratitude.
Oh.
I thank each and every single one that helps me that I can live freely in my home.
Where we're living, we can't even move in the room properly. We'll bounce up If the light is gone, we have to stay put because we have no way. It's a small place. When the time gets cold, my son will get sick. If the rain fall, the rain will come in and it's just all over. He will sick like for months, can't go to school. Now my kids, they're all happy with my daughter going to postpartum. It's CXC time. Trust me, she have a comfortable place to study, a well-needed house. Thank you so much.
Every Jamaican should have access to a good standard of shelter. They should have protection from the element. It should be a place of refuge and security, a place where they can live comfortably and raise their family.
Another benefit of the new social housing program is the pride that comes with fulfilling a lifelong, sometimes intergenerational goal.
This is going to break intergenerational poverty. This is an asset that your children can inherit.
Oh my goodness, gratitude is a must! Talk for me now!
I can't even explain myself right
You don't
right
need to,
now.
your smile does it all.
To all the persons who is a part of the new social housing program that made today possible, we want to say thank you very much. We really appreciate what you have done for our family. Thank you very much.
This is a very emotional moment, and I can see that your daughter is overcome, and indeed the entire family, and indeed everyone here who is participating in this ceremony.
We at the social housing, the new social housing program, we are very pleased to be able to make a transformational difference in your life, and that's what the program is about. Social housing is an important part of what we call the social safety net. It is the establishment of a standard below which no Jamaican citizen should live.
The program is funded by the Government of Jamaica and administered through the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Applicants and beneficiaries are pulled from all 63 constituencies.
The applications, well, the recommendations coming to us from the various members of parliament. We do an assessment on the ground. We interview the prospective applicants, and the assessment includes the engineer's report and also the social report, ensure that the beneficiary meets the criteria that has been set.
The report then goes to a multi-sectoral committee for review and approval. Those that are approved go on to the procurement process for bidding by contractors, then to the procurement committee for review after being shortlisted, then final approval for construction to begin.
We expect that by the end of this year, we would have surpassed the 300 unit mark.
Thank God. I feel many times better in life.
I overjoy because I never know I would live in a concrete structure with a deck top over my head.
The government is convinced that if the country is to achieve its 2030 goal of developed nation status, it needs to cater to the interest of persons from all social classes, especially the vulnerable. The mission is ensuring that programs and policies are in place to protect the poor and the marginalized, and that all citizens have the opportunity to influence development and governance at the local and national level.
We go through any terrain, any weather, climb up any hill, make our way down into any valley to deliver the houses. We build houses all over Jamaica in all conditions. And it is all for the benefit of the people of Jamaica.
Young Jamaicans up to 35, your government will reserve up to 10% of NHT Housing Solutions over the next 5 years just for you with 100% financing up to 15 million Jamaican dollars. This is how we are empowering and breaking the cycle of poverty meaningfully. Your government is caring for you.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
For the introduction of proper traceability of animals and products of animal origin, countries have implemented systems to ensure the safety of food and also for disease surveillance purposes. So the NATS, National Animal Identification and Traceability System, and the legislation requires that every bovine animal must be tagged. And it also requires that if an animal is being sold, it must have a cattle passport and it must be fitted with a NATS tag in both ears. So anyone engaged in the sale of cattle, they would have committed an act against the law if the animals would not have been properly tagged and issued with a passport.
Up next is another episode of the Bank of Jamaica's Inflation Watch. It highlights actions by the central bank to ensure inflation remains within the 4 to 6% target range.
Hello, I'm Rakan. Welcome to another episode of Inflation Watch, where Bank of Jamaica highlights the main factors influencing price movements in Jamaica. At November 2024, headline or annual inflation, which is the general rate of increase in the prices of goods and services, as measured over a 12-month period by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, was 4.3%. This is awesome news, as it reflected the 8th month during 2024 in which inflation remained within the bank's target range of 4 to 6%. Also, November saw the lowest annual level of price increases since June 2021. Inflation in November 2024 was primarily driven by increased prices for certain food items, including fruits such as ripe bananas, oranges, watermelons, and dried coconuts, as well as higher prices for some starchy foods like Irish potatoes, yams, and green bananas. These higher prices continued to reflect the impact of recent bad weather on agricultural supplies. November's inflation was also influenced by higher rental costs for housing and higher prices for paint and certain fast food meals. Inflation at November was even lower than the 4.9% recorded at October 2024. The generally lower inflation for most of 2024 was supported by BOJ's monetary policy, a moderation in wage pressures, and stable inflation expectations. The non-recurrence of increases in some administered prices, particularly transport, also supported the lower price level rise. On the 20th of December 2024, BOJ announced the Monetary Policy Committee's decision to 1. Reduce the policy rate by a further 25 basis points to 6% per annum, effective Monday, the 23rd of December 2024, and 2. Preserve stability in the foreign exchange market. This decision to continue easing monetary policy is based on continued low inflation, which has become anchored in the target range of between 4 and 6%. Now that you're aware of the factors that influenced inflation at November 2024, my co-host BJ will tell you how information is shared with the public after BOJ's Monetary Policy Committee makes its monetary policy decision.
Hi, BJ here. Let's look at how information is shared with the public after BOJ's Monetary Policy Committee makes a decision on monetary policy or money supply in the economy. Well, monetary policy decisions work best when the public understands certain things. Like 1, what purpose the decision trying to achieve? 2, what is the impact on the economy? And 2, the economic factors in Jamaica and overseas that are considered. The communication process ensures the transparency. It must be clear to everybody. A news release and a summary of decisions with details of the discussions are issued to the media and published on the BOJ's website right after each of the MPC's 8 meetings a year. Detailed minutes of the meetings are posted on the website a few weeks after. The information tells you about the inflation situation, projections for inflation in the future, risk to inflation, the policy tools utilized, and why they were deployed. There's also information on recent economic developments in Jamaica and abroad. You will notice a difference in the summary of decisions 4 times a year. That's when the bank's macroeconomic forecast is updated and a full quarterly monetary policy report is published. A quarterly press conference is also held for journalists to ask questions and share information with the public. As part of the transparency framework for the monetary policy, the BOJ governor is required to appear at the Standing Finance Committee of Parliament twice a year to answer questions. On top of that, did you know that when inflation is above or below the target range, BOJ must write to the Minister of Finance to explain why the target was missed? This inflation targeting thing is serious business. More on inflation next time.
Thanks, BJ, for such useful information. And that's a wrap for Inflation Watch, looking at the numbers at November 2024. Join us again next time when Bank of Jamaica will bring you another episode of Inflation Watch, where we track inflation and explore the factors influencing price changes in Jamaica. I'm Brakan. Take care.
Join us next month on Inflation Watch to see what the inflation number will be.
Jamaicans, practice proper disposal of garbage, and if items can be reused, recycle them. We all have a part to play in protecting our environment from pollution. We are building Jamaica.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll bring another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via X at JIS News. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.